down in this first game. It's been over a year since I've been back. I am so happy to be here. This is going to be really fun.
You're having a lot of fun with the really long, drawn out, showing off this gorgeous venue as we get into game.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this is the game.
This is the game right here. Do you do that for a living? That is really good.
It's almost like I've been here for a year. I've got their timings figured out. But we made it. We're on the Rift. It's game one of LPL Spring 2017. It's RNG versus IMA.
And we are excited to see how this works out as everyone spreads across to what appears to be, looks like standard 5-point from both sides.
And listen to that, you can hear the crowd, and they're so loud because it's RNG on the field. So not only do they have one of the most famous players in China in Uzi still sitting on the roster, but they are now an all-Chinese roster, and this makes them incredibly popular.
Yeah, and as I understand, the fans of the LPL, they're pretty passionate about the players and teams that they follow.
That's one way to put it. It's a very intense league to play in, but you have to understand that these venues, I mean, you can kind of see it a little bit on your screen. They're so gorgeous, they're so large that these LPL players, they're already rock stars.
And with all of that excitement, there is a lot of pressure on them to find success. As this is the first game, this is what is going to cue and kick us off into the season. Xiaohu starting off in lane, while that's blue start and red start from the junglers.
Yeah, so both junglers starting on the top side of the map, no surprises there. I should point out that Ming and Uzi, Ming actually started with his shield as Nautilus, so taking a very aggressive stance level 1 to try to get control of this wave and bully Jin Zhao and Road back.
Already you can see Jin Zhao.
They've got the creep advantage.
Yeah, taking the flurry to try to get some more AoE onto the creeps, but instead just get some damage onto Uzi.
This is actually really important where Jin Zhao decided to hold the wave though, making sure that it froze right in front of his tower, especially because the junglers started top side of the map, so trying to deny any sort of early gank.
Meanwhile, Ben4 looks like he decided to go for standard clear, blue into Wolves, followed by red buff. That puts him at level 3 on the bottom side with that wave crashing in.
He is going to be tracked, however, by that vision that Xiaohu managed to sneak in there in between the waves. See if he's actually caught. He wasn't pinged out, so just walking underneath his Raptor camp.
Yeah, taking a look at these masteries. Fairly standard, Courage of the Colossus.
Fairly standard Courage of the Colossus.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to be seeing that a lot until it ends up getting a nerf. But, ooh, Ben4 is going to find MLXG. Well, I suppose they found each other, really.
Yeah, but MLXG loses a lot of pressure now that he didn't connect with the Q, which is why he immediately gives up that Scuttle Crab. But some unique pathing by using the Blast Cone, and now both top laners should be able to neutralize and kind of dissolve any sort of play that could have happened on the top side of the map because both junglers made eye contact.
And with that, the junglers return to their native environments, continuing to farm it up, not want to take any chances and miss out on that oh-so-vital early experience.
So we have already seen a Kled be played. It was played in LCK by Jin Air. Again, it was also picked into a Maokai. He does have some bully pressure on the Maokai, but it's more so a free lane. The issue with Kled is that with a lot of the Poppies, the Camille's, and the Fioras running around, that he doesn't have a lot of favorable matchups, although as I say that, we're actually going to have something slide into mid lane.
Oh, MLXG just sees Amazing J as he goes by. Yeah, things going down, so Xiaohu, he's still staying forward, but just going to kick that soccer ball around before heading back under his turret.
And again, this kind of shows, you know, Kled, he doesn't necessarily have complete control of the wave. Yeah, he'll want to hold it back, especially because he knows that junglers are on the top side of the map, but it opens up these windows of opportunity where Maokai can start slipping down into the river.
Oh, that was smite from MLXG to try to steal it, but Ben4's auto with red buff secured it because he attacked first. That is, you know, I hate to say it, that's just unlucky.
First game, you know, stage, some jitters.
Yeah.
Things will even out, I believe. I have
Is
faith.
94 less than 90? I think it is. Oh, no. Oh, let me take some damage, yeah.
He's got the cannon creep on him as well.
Ooh, Amazing J at about 130 health. But just going to play it safe, walks back under turret.
The big difference, though, is if Let Me will hang around here to push the creep wave into the tower and try to force the teleport out of Amazing J. There it goes, and now Let Me has power where he can choose to back and walk to lane or also trade with his TP.
Meanwhile, Uzi continuing to pressure Jin Zhao as best he can. You can see MLXG was just waiting to see if an opportunity arose. Xiaohu, finds Athena, level 5, so doesn't quite have the Petrifying Gaze just yet. Keeps him locked in lane.
I've been watching a lot of Xiaohu's solo queue, although hold on. Okay, back to Xiaohu. I've been watching a lot of Xiaohu's solo queue, and he's been playing a lot with Faker. He's very high ranked on the Korean ladder right now, and he's very familiar and very comfortable with this matchup, Cassiopeia into Ryze. And in fact, that's a trick that he also learned in the solo queue by placing and controlling that brush, and then just trying to punish these really lazy back timings from Athena.
Yeah, trying to get that early tier on Cassiopeia is so vital. Xiaohu already secured his own. Now Ben 4 is going to come in to cover for that Cassio, but Ben 4 is forced to hop away as MLXG simply walks through the miasma.
Hold on though, bottom lane. Is he going to follow up on me? No, Uzi's like, creeps right now, buddy.
If you take a look at the fan vote, right now it looks like a lot of people, 87% of the voters, are favoring RNG. Wow, that is significant. Uh-oh, looks like Amazing J, level 6, level 4. Do they have enough damage to bring Amazing J down? He's at low health. I hear the flash being popped, but he makes it under his turret. Amazing J survives.
So that is going to be the flash summoner that they'll be able to punish soon. So now it's a question. Amazing J doesn't have his TP, doesn't have his flash. How much longer can he continue to hang on?
Uzi getting some damage. That's the stun onto Ming. He's Keaton now, trying to get the headshot. Heal, exhaust. They're trying to trade it back. Road, flashes, autos, not enough. Uzi's right there, trying to line up the Peacemaker, but Xin Xiao body blocking. True AD carry.
More summoners burned across the map, and again, this aggression was triggered by the fact that we saw jungler and pressure on the top side, so it gives Ming and Uzi the go-ahead. We're trying to go all in right now.
They're still staying in lane right now, trying to heal up. Doran's Blade versus Doran's. Targon's Shield versus Targon's. And finally, after pushing the wave in, Uzi calls it quits. He's going to let them live for now.
I didn't happen to catch it. Did you catch if it was Fervor or Bloodlust for Caitlyn?
I believe it was Bloodlust.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on his stacks later on.
So we've seen more AD carries prioritizing the Bloodlust simply because there's so many casters running around in the support position, and it's really hard to stay in lane when a Karma or a Zyra chunks you out to half health if you don't have that Bloodlust to lifesteal your way back to health. But obviously with two tank supports in the Tahm Kench or the Nautilus, there is a bit of more of a window for you to go for that Fervor.
Yeah, so we just saw Uzi in that bottom lane. That was, in fact, the Bloodlust. You can tell by the big red arrow when he attacked the minions. That was letting him know that he got that health back. He actually did delay his back so he could push the wave in and force Xin Xiao to miss a few of those minions. So he's already 12 CS up, and he will have the stronger back. We'll have to keep an eye on whether or not he can turn that into an advantage.
And that's two bullying lanes right now. You saw Athena and Xiaoyu on your screen just a second ago there. The fact that Xiaohu was bow-guarding the creep wave, despite the fact that Athena has that blue buff. So you've got the mid lane, who's got pressure, you have the bot lane that has pressure, and you have MLXG, who has a world of decisions to make. Do I go bot, do I go mid, or do I punish the lack of flash top?
As it is right now, MLXG is going to be spotted by... Oh, he's just outside of vision. Still, wow, that's playing it really close.
They're going to catch him.
Oh, now he sees him. But Ben 4 is invading on that side of the jungle. Xiaohu's right there. They could try to force this collapse as he gets a ward onto the control ward. Xiaohu's really going to try to fight this. It's technically 3v2, gets the snare. Ben 4's level 6 and forced to hop away. And the control ward is clear.
Trying to force Xiaohu to return to his lane by shoving that creep wave in and diluting any sort of play that can happen in the river. We talked about direction as the question for both these teams, however, and they're being incredibly decisive about opening and unlocking themselves from the lanes and roaming around the map, particularly Athena and Road.
Ben 4 heading towards that top lane. Looking for Kled. He would find him if he stays in the Tribush. Now he sees it, gets the isolation bonus. Skarl gets popped, and there goes the bear trap on a rope. Ben 4 gets chunked low, but he gets level 6. That's Flash, and Ben 4 escapes.
Was not expecting that type of damage output from the Kled. Of course, when he hops off Skarl, it gets a bit more extreme there, so catching the Kazakhs off guard.
Hook is going to land on Road. They saw Ben 4 on the other side and knew he was low, so if RNG want to fight, now's the time as they start clearing out some of the vision. MLXG, oh, he's going to leave the Gromp. As Xiaohu continues pressuring up in that mid lane. We're 10 minutes in, and there still has not been a kill in the 2017 LPL Spring Split.
Things certainly have changed since you've been away, Dom. Although
but they are still aggressive.
Xiaohu has a potential that he could start roaming. So what he's done right now, even though we're looking at bottom lane, is he just cleared out the vision next to the Raptor camp. So he's now cleared kind of that Silk Road towards the bottom lane, and if you control that, you can start controlling, pressuring that tower.
Wave is cleared. Xiaohu trying to go in. That's the cleanse. Kites it back and eats the slow instead. Xiaohu's going to eat some damage. Amazing J flashes. Xiaohu has to pass through the minions. But still no deaths. Let me still even making his way down there too.
Yeah, unfortunately, Amazing J unable to gap close there. Although Let Me was pulling down river with charge available. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the auto and the hook. Road is caught. Can he escape though? He does, in fact, and RNG decide to just clear out the ward instead. Well, this is, it looks like the LPL that I know, but there are no kills.
They don't necessarily need to flash in to try to kill, especially when they know that Tom Kinch has the flash, simply because they've chunked him out. So by not expending their summoners for the kill, they still gain what they want, which is pressure advantage and CS advantage in the lane because it's a 2v1 scenario. Although, as I say that, they're actually just going to take the free back.
Using the opportunity to top off those items Berserker Greaves picked up, as is standard. Amazing J is going to spot out Let Me and decide to leave that control ward for now. Taking a look at the CS, we're starting to see a real big differential open up in that jungle. Nearly 20 more creeps for MLXG.
And that's been surprising. Ben4 isn't necessarily just power farming. He's actually doing a bit of hunting. We've seen him quite a few times kind of peeking his head in, running into MLXG, trying to figure out where he is. So despite the fact that his farm is down, he's actually done a good job, not necessarily controlling MLXG, but keeping tabs on him.
Ben4 is magically being spotted out by that ward. MLXG sees this along with the rest of RNG. Heads towards the top lane. Amazing J used his flash earlier. MLXG gets on him, kicks it back out of the turret. Is this going to be first blood? Amazing J, will he give up the first kill of 2017? He does. And MLXG and Let Me escape with their lives.
We had a lot of questions about this team. Who was going to be the shot caller?
Oh,
Let Me run.
Yeah, Let Me's...
He's done so.
Going to be cleaned up by Athena. Also, it's 2017. I still have to remember that myself.
We had a lot of questions about who was going to be the shot caller. We thought it would be Uzi, but we were scared that that would make MLXG predictable, that he'd spend all of his time in this bottom lane. But time and time again, he's been ganking the top side of the map, setting up Let Me for success. So RNG showing that they're not a single formula team, and Aime biting back still. Athena unlocking himself, getting involved on these roams. I don't think I've seen Road in the bottom lane for the past 5 minutes.
He's been all over the place. Trying to find some vision, trying to find a way to keep track of MLXG on that bottom side of the map so that he can keep Jin Zhao safe and provide at least a little bit of support to Athena should he ever get the opportunity.
Ben4 and Road are just tag teaming MLXG, and he finally snuck underneath their radar by getting that top gank off, but we'll see if he gets any more. Again, he can look at this bottom lane pretty much at any time. Uzi and Ming have a very large advantage on Varus, not only in their buys, their CS, but also their tower pressure.
Ming and Uzi, they're going to find Road on top of that control ward. Not going to fight him for it, though. Athena,
really good job on positioning right now. He just actually saved his support's life just because MLXG was up on the blue buff, could have collapsed. This is so well coordinated from Aime. You've got Road is peeking up into the river. You have Ben4 that comes in, contests, steals blue. Athena's pulled off to the side, so Xiaohu can't walk out of lane. I mean, again, this is a mixed language team starting a jungler that they didn't think that they were going to have to start and executing brilliantly against a single language team.
Yeah, Ben4 looking to push that advantage. He did use his smite to get the blue, trying to finish off this Drake as 3 members of RNG collapse. Uzi's coming around the wall.
He got it.
It's secured by Ben4, but that's exhausted on MLXG. Snare onto Ming in the middle. Let Me teleports in, who Road managed to take a bite out of MLXG as the fight splits, chasing into the Dragon Pit. Ben4 hops back in, gets cleaned up as MLXG will trade his life. Jungler for jungler. Now Amazing J trying to clean up exhaust onto Jin Zhao. He still has that flash. Xiaohu kites it back, running as fast he can, but he falls. Double kill for that cast as Uzi's forced to flash away, and RNG are going to be cleaned up by Aime.
Huge play from Amazing J right there. And I thought for sure the Maokai was going to get cut down because he was tanking for so long without any backup support, especially after the flash fumble from Ben4.
Yeah.
Hops back in, flashes into wall. Oh, not quite. It was close. Here we go, though. So the dragon will be secured by Bin 4. He gets kicked out of the pit. He'll rejoin the fight from the bottom side, but keep your eyes peeled on when Amazing J gets back into this fight. So Amazing J comes from the top. He's going to land on everyone. Maokai's going to be doing so much damage and so much work, but there's no one really here to help him. It's just little Jin Zhao in the back of the pit. Meanwhile, Athena has to run all the way back around. But the Maokai is so tanky and so strong with that Courage of the Colossus that he's able to buy his team enough time to clean up anyway.
Very strong play from Aimee to use that strength to their advantage in that team fight by kiting it out and pulling RNG in.
He jumps into the dragon pit, flashes into the wall. His first game.
Look, it is that first game. You've got a few of the jitters. I mean, MLXG did the exact same thing by smiting the Scuttle Crab. Just a microcosm too early. Despite that, though, the first dragon goes over to Aimee, and it is only about a 400 gold advantage.
Heads
Road, he's going to be kicked back in, no flash, and just walks it off.
He just ate the Lee Sin ultimate. He ate the full combo from Rise, and he's just like, this is fine.
Yeah. He's got Ruby Crystal Sightstone Merc Treads. This Tahm Kench is ready to go.
Bench the Kench.
I don't think you can.
Oh, Jin Zhao has to be very careful. MLXG's poised very far behind him, looking for Ben 4.
Ooh, MLXG has got no ultimate.
You
Forced
don't want
to dash
that.
Away. Wow, quick reaction from MLXG to pull away from the isolated Kazakhs.
It's a fun matchup there, trying to dodge which damage is going to go where. But this is the primary goal, what they want. It's not the pick. It's the tower, but good recall from Road and use of ultimate means that RNG have to diffuse their play and back off. Loses them a lot of time.
You can see in the mid lane, Xiaohu was trying to cheat down towards the bottom side, but again, Athena with the vision around that banana bush has just been keeping Xiaohu locked into this lane. And things slowly but surely are starting to go Aimee's direction. Ben 4 continuing to clear out this vision. He's still got the support of his mid lane and bottom lane and that bottom side of the map.
MLXG just now getting his ultimate back available, so a lot of power back in that pocket for him. It looks like they're going to try to take this 3v2 bottom side. No.
He's still waiting for it. Seems like that early mobility and pressure that we saw from MLXG is starting to taper off a little bit as he's looking for more plays. Xiaohu goes in and then right out.
It's also the fact that they're losing a lot of vision and information about where Ben 4 is. So if you look at RNG's vision line, they've got it over that Silk Road behind the Dragon Pit. You know, they're able to control that gank path, but they're not able to get Xiaohu in it to use that vision to get him bottom. And instead, they're not seeing where the Kazakhs is. So MLXG can't commit to a bottom play without knowing where Ben 4 is.
Ben 4 playing around that vision, despite being down 20 jungle creeps, is able to find an impact by controlling those neutral camps, by contesting MLXG in the jungle, with the help of his team, of course. And looking at Aimee as a whole, this team, it was a bit rocky for the first 10 minutes while MLXG was all over the place, but they're moving well, they're contesting vision, they're looking like a team for the very first game that we're seeing them back after break. RNG trying to trade it back. Yeah, MLXG will return. Road, very tanky. That is the chain of corruption onto Uzi. He's caught down as well. Road gets kicked back in, and ace in the hole to lock down the kill.
Yeah, unfortunately, MLXG comes in, doesn't connect with the Sonic Wave, but he has the flash Dragon Kick available, and they're able to finally clean up a kill, but it really doesn't get him much in the end.
Yeah. Amazing J did have his teleport, but decided not to use it. Instead, opted for the recall to play it safe as MLXG made it there just a bit faster. Ben 4 is actually waiting down there as well.
This is actually really smart. So they know that RNG are going to back, so now they have two different options. We can contest, invade their jungle, lay down deep vision, or if Ben 4 wanted, he could also move into the lane, although he sees that Uzi canceled his back, move into the lane and help push down that tower, because it's a race, you know, which tower is going to drop first.
So far, it looks like Aimee's turret has taken a lot more damage in that bottom lane as MLXG is going to start clearing out the Wraith camp. Ben 4 continuing to fight over this vision. Slowly but surely, RNG's vision line is getting pushed back. Where previously it was that Silk Road behind Dragon Pit, it's now on their own side of the map as Xiaohu trades it with Athena just a touch. Is he going to take the resonating strike? Nah, besides not.
Xiaohu and Lee Sin, although hold on, we're going bottom.
Oh, they're going right on top of Uzi. He's still got flash. Ben 4 chases, but decides not to overcommit. He turns it around with the isolated damage out of brush. And that's Ming being pulled in now. Aimee going to try to clean this up. That's flash from Ming as well. Road looking for one more auto, gets the stun. Ben 4 gets some damage, and they get the kill. 6-3 Aimee.
And meanwhile, Xiaohu and MLXG just sitting in the wings and just watching their bottom lane get torn apart as this Kha'Zix continues to snowball. We said it was a race of which tower was going to go down first. If Athena can get back up to the mid lane and pull Xiaohu away, it's going to be Aimee winning the race.
Yeah, they are going to try taking down this first turret of the game, even going to give the gold over to Xin Zhao. Oof, that is going to be a big Varus, but MLXG is still right there. He's got Hex Drinker, and despite the Lee Sin nerfs, he still hurts.
Oh, the greed. He doesn't see Kha'Zix.
Oh.
Safe bet.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ben 4 says, another neutral objective? Yes, please. I'll take that to go.
Ocean Dragon, not necessarily as punishing. It's probably one of the best junglers best dragons when you're still in lane phase, but now that we're unlocking that, the region means a little bit less. Still nice to have in your back pocket to continue to snowball on dragons, however.
Let me now groups up into the mid lane along with the rest of his team. Xiaohu's ultimate is on cooldown. I can't help but think he tried to use that a little bit earlier off screen. But with that first turret advantage, let's see how Aimee continue to snowball this. They've taken that neutral dragon now, which means the next big objectives for them are going to be those large jungle buffs, now secured by Athena with his blue, before finally looking towards another turret.
It's also about where they're going to rotate their lane, so we can already see that Xin Zhao and Road are picking up their routes from bottom lane. They're heading towards that top lane, and Uzi and Ming are already up there and waiting for them, laying down their vision, making sure that there's not going to be a threat behind tower.
Already you can see Let Me has swapped down towards that bottom lane to try to reap the rewards of the very low health turret left by Uzi and Ming.
And this is really smart. Let Me has a lot of safety as well as a ton of damage, caught a good wave, so they're able to trade that tower back quickly. But again, more importantly, the fact that Uzi and Ming, there's no reason for us to be bottom, even though the tower's not there. Leave that for Let Me. We have to go ahead and neutralize any sort of push advantage that Xin Zhao and Rogue can get started on the top side of the map.
Oh, Xiaohu manages to get the Realm Warp onto Athena as Ben 4 leaps over the wall before stealthing back. The Lee Sin nerf comes into effect, not finding vision as the slow catches MLXG. Road gets knocked up, but it doesn't do anything.
But ultimately, it just buys time for Xin Zhao to continue to chip away at this top tower. He will have to back up simply because he knows that RNG are running up to try to catch him. But still, even though that didn't equate into any kills, still an advantage for Aimee.
See Road trying to clear out this ward, gets the final auto attack as Xiaohu without the Realm Warp is forced to take the long way around. Still no minions there as the posturing around that mid turret has begun.
This is important though. Let Me is, I think, freezing the bottom wave. No, he's just going to push it. But right now it's pushed towards him, which means that there's a window where Maokai can unlock himself from bottom and start to play around the mid lane. He is spotted out by a ward, but they've made their intent very clear for mid turret.
Yeah, diving now onto Xiaohu. He cleanses, but 4 people diving him. Gonna try to do some damage. Athena's tanking turret gets eaten up by Road and saved as that tier 1 finally drops. Let Me tries to get into the front, but it's Amazing J left in the back. That's RNG getting a kill for that turret. Meanwhile, though, Xin Zhao's in the top lane looking to trade it back with a tier 1 of his own. That's 2 turrets for 1 kill.
This is a question of direction. Who is going to be the shot caller? Without Mata leading the charge, do RNG know how to move around the map? And so far,
that's a hook. Road. Oh. He is pulled up by Fisherman Nautilus right now, and that is going to make a tasty stew for RNG.
They need to push through.
They are continuing to do so. That's Xin Zhao going for a recall at the blue pit. Athena's at half health. He's got to be careful for some of that point-and-click CC. Skarl gets cleared away by some of that residual damage, but the minion wave is cleared, and the turret still stands.
Okay, a mistake from Aimee sort of neutralized the loss that RNG had there. It's still 2 towers for 1, although a teleport, very deep TP.
And 4 looking for MLXG.
So greedy. Here comes Maokai.
Oh, yeah, Amazing J, he's got the home guards. MLXG is going to try to hop over the wall here. Oh, no!
He's going to throw the sapling.
Was he outside of vision?
He's going to throw the sapling.
There he goes. MLXG is caught now. The sapling's very slow. But, oh, it actually doesn't catch him. I think MLXG might be trying to deny the assist.
I don't think the sapling is the worst case scenario here.
This is a merry chase. Okay, what's happening elsewhere around the map? MLXG is going to try to go for the execute. Whoa! The snipe, getting the hitbox there.
Elsewhere on the map, I'm watching the Clown Fiesta on the bottom side.
Yeah, no, let's take a look at the Clown Fiesta on the top side. Xiaohu trying to make something happen here as Uzi shows himself. Point-and-click snare finds Road. That's Ming getting the knock-up. Do they have enough damage? Redemption heals him back up, but that is Flash traded away.
They all took more damage than Road did. That was 3v1.
Tom Kench
Gray health.
Cannot be benched.
Plus redemption.
Yes, Ping's now into the Baron pit. Whoa, they're going right onto it, despite the ward there.
That's because MLXG is dead. They killed their jungler bottom lane, and they're going to be able to burn this very quickly between the isolation damage, the Cassiopeia, as well as the Varus attack speed.
Lemmy gets over the wall, but it is going to be secured by Athena. Rhodes in the back trying to get the stun as they manage to clear the kill onto Ming. That's another 2 dead, and RNG just feed more wood into the wood chipper.
RNG have no idea where to be on the map right now, and overreach when they allow themselves to get picked off in the mid lane, and then MLXG gets greedy, tries to steal the red buff, dies bottom, it leaks into the Baron. This is just like 3 continuous bad decisions that have snowballed this game out of control.
To be fair, though, IME are putting some excellent pressure onto RNG by forcing them to make these decisions time and time again as the turrets are slowly falling.
And it's with the information that's been gained by Road and Bin4 specifically. This guy on Tom Kent, he got a lot of flack at Worlds for kind of an iffy performance, but has looked great in his debut game for the LPL.
Whoa, Ben4 zoning Uzi away, knows that he's got his support Road to keep him safe as one turret goes down with some chip damage onto the mid one. With empowered Baron recall still on all 5 members of IME, this is still a good 2.5 minutes of pressure for RNG.
The scary thing, though, is all of the gold that they've now just picked up that they finally got to spend. So IME were already really scary. They've taken, what, I think 2 turrets as well as a Baron and maybe some pocket gold kills before we've had a full team reset. So suddenly this gold lead has ballooned out of control.
Yeah, IME are looking pretty big right now. That Drake is going to respawn. Looks like Infernal now. And, uh-oh, they found MLXG. Hops over the wall, gets a good kick for the knockback, but Ben4 is already behind him.
That is twice now
that
MLXG has just been lazy or greedy on where he is backing and the objectives that he is contesting, and it's cost his team big.
Look at the trading they're making now. 3 members of RNG on that bottom side as Infernal Drake is picked up. Athena pressuring in that mid lane to keep the Kled occupied, which means it's 3 versus 1 in terms of that turret race. I don't even think those minions are going to be enough to finish off. Actually, they should be, yeah.
Because they have the Maokai, so the dive potential from IME is just so potent and powerful that unless the full combo of RNG is there, it's super terrifying for them to stand exactly that. They can't stand on the tower. Ming
gets chunked low as the the trap wall is being placed by Uzi, but he's already chunked down to half, and now that wall is being cleared. Redemption is going to heal IME as they dive in without a turret to worry about. They just do damage. Athena gets knocked up on the side, but already Amazing J is peeling. Road and Amazing J in the front are forcing Uzi back as he flashes, chased and knocked away. That's going to be cleaned up. Ben4 retreats at low health as Xin Zhao and Athena, the 2 primary damage dealers, chase RNG into the fountain. Letme is trying everything he can, but everything is not going to save IME, as that is an ace with Baron buff and a wave of minions. IME looking to take game number 1 of the LPL 2017 spring split. This is a 30-minute stomp over what is heavily considered a favorite by a lot of Chinese fans in RNG. We had questions. We showed you the power rankings of the group. You know, we weren't really big on RNG. We kind of placed the middle of the pack, but we definitively said IME are not going to be a strong team. We put them in last or second last, and maybe it's a question that RNG really are that weak, or maybe it's the answer that IME are actually that strong. I mean, judging by the course of that game, the fact that we had to transition from that sort of early RNG dominant play around MLXG, just trying to go for the farm, trying to go for the ganks, into the patient decision-making of IME, setting them up for success, and more importantly, setting RNG up for failure. Yeah, and MLXG on your screen, if we're going to talk about failure from the team, it really has to look at him. His greedy play, overreaching for that red buff, getting caught bottom, and then allowing that Baron to go down. You can never leave Baron alone after 20 minutes when you're against the likes of the isolation of the Kha'Zix damage, the Cassiopeia burn, even the attack speed Varus build. Again, Xin Zhao didn't go for that CDR utility Varus, he went for the Bork Varus. Yeah, and it just did so much damage as we saw. So now we have to start looking ahead. We've seen the first assessment for this team of IME. We've looked at the first assessment for this team of RNG. What does RNG change to bring it back in game 2? I think it's I honestly think it's going to be, you know, where are we focusing all of our jungle and our resources. The fact that Xiaohu wasn't having a great game in the mid lane, that Athena was making superior roams on the Cassiopeia versus the Ryze, not getting the roams down, you know, really abusing the vision there. The fact that Road
unlocked himself so early. We said it in the very beginning. You know, Tom Kinch fits right in Rhodes' wheelhouse. It's a champion that has high mobility. When Rhode gets involved in the plays, I may have their shot caller behind them. We had questions, you know, who was going to lead RNG? Who was going to be their shot caller? They've got their head screwed on, but RNG, theirs is lost in the clouds.
It seemed like we saw a little bit of MLXG doing some form of shot calling, if not Xiaohu during the early game, but it, as you said, it just seemed to have fallen apart once we hit that mid-game stage. Could we look to a different composition for RNG to try to find more success with that?
No, these are all of their we had Uzi on Caitlyn. Like, what other... That's a champion that he's known for. These are all comfort picks. Xiaohu got the Ryze. Ryze is considered a huge priority pick. So I don't think... I mean, yeah, you can kind of... You know, maybe they didn't execute the composition. Maybe you do it this way. But MLXG on Lee Sin, Xiaohu on Ryze, Uzi on Caitlyn. These are all comfort champions. Maybe you look towards the Kled and let me the fact that they were giving pressure up into the top lane. But that, you know, that makes sense. You want to get the Kled snowballed a little bit. He's against the Maokai. You want to kill the Maokai before he just becomes an unkillable wall. But the first team fight came around, and even though they had gotten the first blood on Amazing J, it wasn't enough to put down that Courage of the Colossus Maokai. Amazing J came out huge. He got a massive ultimate on the team. I think he zoned away 4 members, and Jin Zhao and Varus just went to work.
We've still got to take a look at how this sort of affects the mentality of this team, knowing that they need a new shot caller. You saw MLXG after the game looking completely and utterly defeated. This is a team that was 87% to 13. The entire audience was thinking that RNG would just come in and crush.
They don't have a leader. You have to look at Uzi. I know Uzi has a reputation of being a bit temperamental, although I think over the course of the LPL, we've really seen him mature, become a very different player. The fact that when he was on OMG for that short stint, that he was actually playing utility AD carry, he was playing for the team. It was no longer this identity of, I'm Uzi, I must eat all the resources, you must give everything to me. He has proven that he can be a team player. But almost in this instance, I almost need the old Uzi. I need the old Starhorn World Club. They were so good at just playing around the protect the AD carry comp. And yeah, we're not in a meta where that's great, but Def proved the other day in the LCK that the AD carry is still alive and well, and we have a great one in the bottom lane. I say, forget the top lane, just go back to basics, go back to the puppy and start feeding him. Yeah,
well, knowing that, however, I expect that we're going to see a lot of pressure and emphasis towards that bottom lane. And again, this is Uzi, the guy who's been playing for years upon years. We always talk about him being a puppy. He is a veteran.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I mean, Uzi started playing when he's a very young guy, you know, before the age restrictions came in. The fact that, you know, he just recently turned 17, 18, and he's considered a veteran of the LPL really speaks to how long he's been around the scene. I said earlier at the top of the show that we really got to watch Mako kind of grow up with EDG. He looks so much older now. Uzi is in a very similar boat as we take a look at the highlights last game.
Yeah, this is that Baron fight that Aime cleaned up so powerfully. And the fact that afterwards we saw RNG try to fight and then just they got destroyed in that ensuing fight. I think the phrase I used was the wood chipper of Aime.
But it's not their fighting mechanics. It's super easy to say like, oh, it was that big 5v5 on the dragon that where Aime destroyed them. But it wasn't the mechanics or how they were pressing their buttons that made Aime win. They didn't just win in that 5v5. They won through their decision making around their vision control. And that's what's really surprising, because anytime you're looking at an LPL team, you're like, they won because of vision. You're like, what? What region am I watching? And that's what it was. Athena in particular, and Rhode, and Ben 4. You know, we looked at the Aime roster. They got their Korean import Flawless into the jungle. You're saying this is the guy that they're going to go to. I mean, they picked up Maestro, their Chinese support, specifically so they could run both Athena and Flawless. Last second decision, oh, Maestro can't play due to contractual issues, so we're going to have to run Rhode again. That means that Flawless can't play because Rhode's the other Korean. And they are throwing a curveball, and they knock it out of the park.
And again, this is in reference to the 2 foreign players. So that is Rhode, who is Korean and Ben 4, and Athena is Korean. So Ben 4 has to fill in the other Korean spot of Flawless.
It is very important to note, though, that Athena, so Aime used to use a rotating mid lane between Baimi and Athena. Baimi is no longer on the roster. Athena was kind of considered the stronger mid laner. He does speak Chinese in interviews. I'm unfamiliar with the full fluency that he has right now, but between the mid lane and communicating to the team, it's less of a wall. There's actually a very funny story where Jin Zhao was looking for a pentakill, and he was yelling penta, 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 and Athena took the pentakill from him, and then after the game, Jin Zhao goes and punches him, and Athena goes, what does penta mean? It's so good.
Well, I mean, he was also trying to take the double kill away from on the other side. Anyways, hopefully we'll see some more communication like that. The fact that they are showing that they are still friends and cooperating and communicating well in this sense, can we assume that this sort of friendship is something that, RNG can use moving into this next one? You're laughing so easily.
Because it's easy to say, like, the power of friendship. Like, knowing the background behind these teams, IMA, former sister team of EDG.
Yeah.
They were scrimming EDG a lot during the regional qualifiers. And, I don't think it's a surprise that IMA made that last-second miracle run into the World's qualifiers. So they have a very friendly relationship with EDG. They scrim a lot internally. RNG Xiaohu in particular, his World's performance was a bit lackluster as we take a look at the stats from last game on your screen.
Yeah, so you can see damage dealt, a full 11,000 more damage, 6 more turrets taken. In addition, that gold graph at the bottom, that is a whopping 11,000 gold lead by the end of a 38-minute game.
Majority of these stats really don't mean anything to me in terms of what was the story or what was the tell of that game, although the damage that Varus is putting out is actually very telling. It was more so, again, that vision. I would love to see their vision stats because it felt like IMA were just suffocating RNG in their own jungle, keeping track of MLXG and really abusing their vision through River.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that vision objective over the course of the next game. I'm sure Road will continue to prioritize that.
That is actually huge, though. 22k from Varus. So Jindao did go for the attack speed build, although the MVP looks like it's going to be going to Bin 4, which I do agree with. But Jindao was known as a utility player. He's known as the Jin, the Ashe player. So for him to come out and lead the charge of having the most attack damage, especially after a flop at Worlds for his debut on the international stage, big story.
Yeah, very productive break, I suppose, for this team. Ben 4, that is a very happy smile as he takes away the first MVP for the 2017 spring split. Hopefully he'll be able to show up with just as commanding a performance in the next match, because I'm sure we're going to be seeing some more changes in terms of picks and bans. But again, I also want to talk about going back to that sort of vision topic. Knowing now that IMA were playing around that vision so much, surely the coaches of RNG are going to call that out. How can RNG react around that sort of vision?
You have to prioritize stronger winning lane matchups, which sounds so silly when they had Caitlyn on the bottom. Jin Zhao and Road lived under their tower to the point that Road was like, "You're fine, Varus, you're good," and then just like pieced out and started roaming around. But the fact that MLXG, again, the early pressure was put towards the top side of the map to try to snowball that Kled ahead, but it never migrated into anything. We never saw Lee Sin and Kled teaming up and kind of invading Bin 4's topside jungle. It never bled over into any other sides of the map. Whereas Road, Bin 4, and Athena were working as a perfect unit to consistently contest MLXG's blue buff. And that started leaking over into trying to take power out of Uzi. Uzi, he's sitting down there, he's winning the lane. He's like, I've got this, 2v2, no problem. But he can't do the 3v3.
Yeah. I feel like the only time we did see MLXG sort of team up with anyone on this team, it was when he ganked top lane with Let Me and got that kill onto Amazing J after burning that initial flash. And you can't really keep a Maokai down unless you just continue to hack away at the base of that tree until there is no tree left. But Amazing J still able to come back. Looking very strong.
It's Maokai. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, that's the purpose of why that champion's so strong. I mean, yeah, you can talk about the courage of the Colossus, how strong armor is right now, scaling, everything like that. But it's really the fact that he can go 0-3 and still be fine.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be right back with game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right here.